Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only
Good
mode.
morning, everybody. I'm doing an audio test right now. If you can actually hear me, on the right side, if you can go to your window, your chat window in the webinar space, go ahead and just type in a message letting me know that you can hear me. I'm going to try a couple of different audio settings right now. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Can anyone hear me? I should be sharing my screen. You should see the PowerPoint in the background. Let's see. We should have some attendees already jumping in. Rhonda, Jason, Jamie, can you guys hear me? I think you're probably getting coffee. Let's check that chat window. Testing, testing. Check my microphone. Shouldn't have anything on the speaker. Let's see. My Realtek microphone. Can you detect it? Testing, testing. That should be it. It's plugged in. Let's see. Okay. We'll bring this up again. Okay, on the right side, if you can hear me, there should be a little chat button on the bottom right side of your GoToWebinar. If you can hear what I'm saying, go ahead and just put in a message and let me know. If not, I'm going to try another audio. Okay, I'm trying a second audio test. If anybody can hear me, on the right side of the column, if you're in GoToWebinar, there should be a little space for you to put in a question or to type in a chat message. I can hear you but can't chat. It looks like Jamie can hear me. Ali can hear me. All right, it looks like people can hear me. Hopefully everybody can still. Yes, the chat option has been disabled. We'll talk about that in just a moment. I think a few other attendees are still joining, so we'll give them just a moment, and then we'll actually begin this webinar. I hope you have your pens and pads ready because we are going to cover a lot of information on this presentation. It's still going to be short, but it's going to be dense. So we're going to have a lot of information, especially if you're planning your emails for the upcoming year. So we'll give everybody just another moment. I'll check my clock here. We should be good on time. So on the right side, if you have any questions, we do have a little block for you to put in a question. We also have a little block for you to put in a chat, which is more of a general chat for everybody. So we will reserve a little bit of time at the end in case you have a specific question. And this includes information that I might have brought up on the previous webinar because these two presentations are sort of connected. So hopefully you were an attendee at the last webinar. If not, we did upload it, so you should be able to get caught up after today's presentation. So let's give just a few more moments and we'll begin today's presentation. Okay, let's see if we can start sharing. That's good. Stop showing screen. That's fine. We should be recording now. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start our presentation. Let me see if I can shrink the control panel here. There we go. So thank you for attending. This is Email Planning 101. So we're actually following up on our previous webinar, which was our holiday email plans. So this is building on what you should be doing in GCast, or a refresher on what you should be doing in GCast, because I know most of you are very busy at your salons, at your spas, at your barbershops, and you're mostly focused on your clients right now. But in a couple of weeks, there's going to be a little bit of downtime where you actually have the ability to begin planning an entire year's worth of email campaigns. So we want to maximize that time that we have, that little window of opportunity. So that's what we're going to look at on today's presentation. So my name's Noah Valladolid. I'm one of the educators here at Shortcuts. So just a reminder, during the webinar, it's going to be about 30 minutes. We're going to allow a little bit of time for questions and answers. My microphone is on. You're probably noticing that your microphone is muted, but you do have the little toolbar where you should be able to ask questions or to just put in a chat for the group. Make sure your speakers are on. So right now, hopefully everybody can hear me. If not, check the volume on your speaker. We're going to do some questions at the end. And if you have any further questions, you can, of course, always ask us via email or just ask us a question on Facebook. We do read that. We do review that. And we do even get ideas for upcoming webinars based on the questions that we get. So today, what are our learning outcomes for today? So we want to be able to plan a campaign period. Normally, you would think about what you're doing on your very next email or what you have planned immediately, but plan an entire campaign period. What will you be looking at over the next month, over the next few months? What are you going to be looking at over the next year? And then when you're putting together your campaigns, are you sending out a general email to everybody, or will you be targeting specific customers? And if so, you're going to learn how to use demographics to do that. That demographics is probably the most powerful button in our GCast, in our set and forget marketing. Usually when we do training, I tend to avoid showing customers how to use the demographics button, because if you misuse it, you end up leaving a lot of customers out of your list. But today we're going to focus on how do you target those specific clients. And then what good are your email campaigns if you're not tracking the success of those campaigns? So how exactly do you know what your return on investment is if you're sending out a coupon, whether it's for a birthday or a seasonal promotion? And of course, last but not least, you can use GCast, you can use the Set and Forget campaigns to queue up an entire year's worth of promotions. So in the window of opportunity that you have, you can plan, prepare, assemble, and actually queue up at least 12 campaigns once a month for the rest of the year, if not more. So let me go over here. And let's actually take a look at the first part. So planning a campaign period. At the very bare minimum, you should be using automated campaigns. So these are things like a welcome email. If you manage to capture a customer's email on their very first visit to your salon or your spa or your barbershop, you should send them, "Welcome, I appreciate your business and I look forward to your next visit." Of course, happy birthday campaigns. Those are always the most popular campaigns you can always send. And of course, to try to recapture clients, you should be sending some sort of "We miss you" campaign. If a customer hasn't visited you in 5 weeks or 12 weeks, and you want to win them back. So those are the automated campaigns you should already be using. And if you're not, that's okay. We have a webinar that covers how to set up those campaigns and what are the ones you can set up. But when you're planning a campaign period, your monthly campaigns, your seasonal campaigns should be supplementing those automatic campaigns. So this is where you want to look at some of the templates that we have in GCast. So we do have dedicated templates for birthday campaigns, we miss you campaigns, but then we have what are called newsletter templates. And the newsletter templates can be molded to any sort of campaign that you're thinking of. So remember, you have the ability to customize the message customize the graphics, upload your company logo, include your social media links. So our newsletter templates are very flexible. And in addition to our newsletter templates, we have seasonal templates. So we have templates ready for the New Year's, ready for Christmas, ready for Halloween, Mother's Day, Father's Day. And really all you have to do is fill in the blanks. So let's actually start to plan a campaign. And what are some of the things you can focus on? So again, at the bare minimum, you should be using an automated campaign. Birthdays, we misuse things like that. And the very least type of campaign that you can be sending out is a monthly campaign. So once a month, whatever the holiday or whatever the special occasion is, you're going to send out a message. So these are some examples of the templates that we have. I mentioned Mother's Day, New Year's, Halloween. So every month, you can just use one of our generic seasonal templates and send it out to the clients. And in that email, you can promote specific services or product specials that you're focused on. So, of course, over the holiday season, you usually get a really big uptick in your product sales, in your gift certificates. So those are the types of things you're going to mention on your holiday emails. But then during the quieter months, if you're doing something for Mother's Day, is it a certain service that you're going to feature, like an updo or a blowout for Mother's Day? So think about your clients, think about what they tend to focus on, especially around the holidays, and start to plan your campaigns around that. With each email, of course, you can always direct customers to your online booking. So it just reminds them, hey, as long as you're reading this message and you see you have perhaps a coupon with it, why don't you go ahead and make an online appointment? Not only that, our templates actually allow you to share your social media links. So all of the major players are on there, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram. And of course, some of the salons that we're working with, some of the barbershops we're working with, actually have their own YouTube channels. So if you're reviewing a product, or if you're featuring a brand new stylist or barber, you can absolutely remind customers, hey, check out our channel. We're always updating it with the latest content. So if you're thinking about a year's worth of campaigns, and right now you don't have any ideas in place, just think about a monthly campaign and focus that on the particular seasonal event or holiday. But when you want to get a little more specific, that's when you're looking at something like a targeted campaign. So don't just do a seasonal campaign, which is a catch-all for everybody. Think about specific customers. Think about specific customer needs. So some of the things you can do is you can recapture lost clients. You can announce employee transitions, and you can reward loyal customers. So how does this work exactly? Well, with demographics, you can actually tell GCast, I want to send an email to customers that visited me once, perhaps before a certain date, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and have never returned. So that's one way to win back clients. But then the second type of campaign, employee transitions. So sometimes you have an employee and perhaps they're going to go back to school, or unfortunately they were hired away by one of your rival studios. So immediately you want to reach out to their preferred clients and let them know that this particular barber, this particular stylist is no longer with you. However, you have an incredible team and you want to make sure that they remain loyal to your location. So perhaps you're going to offer these customers a coupon for their next visit so that they can introduce themselves to a brand new stylist. So we can't stop employees from leaving, but at the very least, you can try to hold on to their customers and just remind them that the salon's always available to you and you always have a great team for them. And then reward loyal customers. So in Shortcuts, this is possibly a utility, a feature that not everybody knows about or is not really using. You have the ability to do targeted marketing to very specific groups of people. So I'm actually going to open up shortcuts so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'll minimize PowerPoint for just a second, and I'll jump into shortcuts. So most everybody knows that in your client list, you have client cards, of course. And if you go into the info button, this is where all your extra information goes for your customers. You have the ability to put in specific occupations, or if a customer has a certain birthday or referral method. These are all ways to target specific customers. So if in your community, in your area, you actually have a lot of parents that you work with, so what you could do is mark in the client cards, if somebody's a student or if somebody's a teacher in education, you can tell shortcuts, I would like to send an email to my students, to my educators when it's back to school season to remind them it's time to make a new appointment. So with GCast, you can set a demographic. I'm looking for everybody that's in school or education, and shortcuts will help you get those clients and send that message through GCast. Same thing with your referral methods. Maybe it's your 1-year anniversary on Facebook, and you'd like to send a thank you email and a promotion to everybody that heard about you thanks to Facebook. Again, this is a very targeted group that you can send a message to so that not everybody gets a copy of it. It creates some sort of a special relationship with you and these customers. So keep this in mind. The more information that you have in your demographics, the more specific targeted messages you can send to these customers. If you have active military people and Veterans Day rolls around, then you can always send, actually, veterans would be for retired military, but you get the idea. You can send a thank you email and perhaps a promotion to these people. So the more information you have in the client card, the more specific you can get with targeted campaigns. So let's jump back to that PowerPoint. So that's one way to do a targeted campaign. The other, and on the right side, this is a button you've probably seen, you may not have used. Under Tools, there's a button that says Marketing. So on this window, if you wanted to get a specific client list and you wanted to market to certain customers, especially with an email campaign, on this window, on the top part is where you tell shortcuts, I want to search for a customer that has had a certain service or has purchased a certain product. And in the middle of the screen, you can say, and I want to filter those clients based on who has not had a certain service. So you don't have to use both of these. So an example that we would set is, let's say you want to send an email to every customer that has had a haircut with you, but has never had a color service. So on the first row, on this top row, you can say, I'm going to look for anybody that's had a haircut. Doesn't matter if it's a bang trim, a boy's cut, a dad's, girl's, mom's cut. But I want to find out anybody that has never had a color service. And then shortcuts will actually generate a list of those customers and help synchronize to GCast and send just those people a message. So if you're having a color promotion, if you have a new hire on your color team and you really want to let customers know about it, then you can have a very specific campaign. The other thing you can do on this window is on the bottom left corner, the button that says Clients. If you want to filter for a specific type of client, let's say your salon's been in business for over a decade and you do high-end services and you have some really big spenders with you. So you can say, I am going to do a fundraising promotion or perhaps a show, a fashion show, and I only want to invite my top spending clients because this is going to be a charity fundraiser and we know these are generous customers. So I can tell Shortcuts, I'm going to look for any customer that has spent more than an X amount on services. Or if I'm doing some sort of retail promotion through the holidays, I can say, I'm looking for customers that have spent more than X amount on products. On the right side, if I want to send a specific email to customers that have a preferred stylist, I can say, I'm going to look for everybody who has Brad as the preferred stylist. So review the options here, because at the bottom of the screen, when you press compute, this is where Shortcuts gives you a list of the specific clients you're looking for. And right now it's not going to find any. This is my test database, so I don't have any transactions in here. When I press generate, this is where Shortcuts will give me the option to generate an email list and then synchronize that email with Gcast. So this computer is not actually live, so it's not going to let me do that. But if you have any issues generating, just let the help desk know, and we'll make sure your system is synchronizing and able to generate a specific list for Gcast. So I'll jump back to my PowerPoint. So you can be very specific when it comes to targeted campaigns, down to the amount that a customer spends, the number of visits that a customer has, when their very first visit with you was, or even if they do referrals. So keep that in mind. The more focused you are on specific groups of clients, the more they appreciate that attention to detail. If you have a lot of parents you work with, think about shaping your campaigns around parents, around kids, around back to school seasons. If you deal with a lot of men in your salon, then think about having a special on a weekend for barbering services, even though you're traditionally a salon. So just keep that in mind. Target your customers and campaign around your clients. So working with demographics. Chances are most of the people attending today's presentation have already sent out campaigns in the past, but they usually skip over the demographics button because it's a dangerous button if you don't know what to do or how to work with that button. So we're actually going to walk through that. How do you actually target specific clients using demographics? So we're going to jump into Gcast, and I have my test campaign up for the holidays. So normally, you would assemble your campaign. At the top, you would have your send options. This is where you tell Gcast, when do I want to send this campaign out? So I'm going to send it in December. I'm going to send it this Friday, December 7th at 9 in the morning. So at this point, I'll save and continue. Now, for most clients, you leave demographics alone. What this ensures is that every customer that's on your email list will get a copy of your message. But if you're doing a targeted campaign, which are some of the filters you want to use? So let's look at that. So in this case, I only want to reach out to perhaps customers that haven't visited the salon in more than 6 months. So I can add a scenario. So I'm going to press this plus button. And when you press choose from, you're going to notice that you have a long list of potential demographics you could choose from. I'll always point you to the USA demographics, Shortcut Software Administration USA demographics. This is the master list of all demographics. So this is the first one you should go to. When the next window shows up, it will say, what is the category? Well, the category I'm talking about is demographics, the very first link here. So Shortcut Software USA demographics, demographics is my category. What is the specific demographic? So on this list, you actually get to see a number of the potential demographics you have. So manual import list. If you actually upload a list into Gcast, perhaps you paid a third-party company to give you a list of customer emails, This is how you can choose just that specific list. Or you can base it on the customer's first visit date. So any customers that visited you on your grand opening date, you want to send them a happy anniversary campaign, you can do that. Well, let's scroll down a little bit. Client's last visit date. So that is the specific demographic. If the client's last visit date is a specific day, well, I don't want to do that. I actually want to say is anybody whose last visit date is before, and then I'll go back a few months. I'll say before the 1st of July, 2018. So this is very specific. I'm sending a holiday campaign to any customer who only visited me once before July 2018. And this goes back to the very first time I opened. So that's one type of specific demographic. Another one I was mentioning is a client's preferred employee. So in this scenario, if you have a stylist that's going out on maternity, if you have a barber that's actually moving to another barber shop, but you want to retain those customers, so you can say the client's preferred name, alias, is, and put that person's name in here. So Shortcuts will send a message just to those specific clients. We can even refine this demographic. If I press this plus button down here, the other filter I can add is an and rule to the first one. I don't want to say that necessarily. I want to have two different options. So the first one is, the client's preferred alias is Brad. Okay. And then on the next row where it says add scenario, I'll press the plus button and I'm going to add a completely different scenario. Again, I'll go to the USA demographics. My category will still be demographics. My demographic is a little bit different. So the first one was the client's preferred employee name. The other one I'm going to choose is the employee from the client's last visit. And I am also going to say Brad is the name of that employee. So why did I just do two different scenarios? In Shortcuts, if a customer has 3 consecutive visits with an employee, that employee gets marked as the client's preferred employee. Now, let's say Brad has a lot of customers that have visited him 2 times consecutively, or have only visited him once, but the customer seems to like him. So I don't want to exclude any of those people. That's why I would have this or situation. So either the customer had 3 consecutive visits with Brad, and they are the preferred customer, or it just so happens that their last visit was with Brad. So now that I have both scenarios, Shortcuts will, or in this case Gcast, will allow me to send a very targeted message to those Shortcuts customers. So keep that in mind. As you begin to review these demographics when you decide you want to do a very targeted campaign, look at some of the options that you have here. Do you have a club that you've created in Shortcuts? Would you like to send a monthly newsletter to these customers? You can send it based on the club's name. Do you want to make an exclusion for a specific type of customer? So for example, I'm going to remove these demographics. So if I send a We Miss You campaign and you're giving the customer a coupon if they haven't visited you in 2 or 3 months, but it just so happens that the reason the customer hasn't visited you in that amount of time is because they were working and they were overseas and they made an appointment for the day they come back. Well, you don't necessarily want to give the customer a We Miss You coupon just because they booked an appointment 3 months out or 4 months out. So you can set a different type of demographic. In that case, does the client have a future appointment? So this way, Shortcuts will send a We Miss You campaign only to the people that do not happen to have a future appointment. So some of these demographics we may have looked in previous campaigns, previous webinars, but when you get a chance, I want you to explore some of these options. And we can look at this again when we finish our presentation for today. So that's how you target very specific people using demographics in GCast. So now that you know how to reach certain customers, now that you know that you can use templates and you can modify templates for specific monthly or seasonal events, how are you going to reward customers? And more important, how are you going to track this information? This is where you want to use promotion codes. So a promotion code is something that's unique in GCast. This is what allows you to track your campaign success. So you can create a promotion code that's good for a product, that's good for a service, and it allows you to follow your discounts in shortcuts. So as you're thinking a year in advance, what are you going to do for Mother's Day? What are you going to do for Valentine's Day? On Valentine's Day, if you decide, I'm going to do a product special, how are you going to track it? So let's actually do a demonstration. How do you create promotion codes in GCast? So let's jump into GCast again. Another live demo, and let's bring it up. So from the main window in GCast, if you've never created a promotion code, then shame on you. But let's rectify that. On the top left corner, we are going to go to the button that says Admin. And in the Admin button, on the right side, at the very, very bottom, this is the last link under Resources. So this is where you begin planning. Before you even create a template, before you look at our newsletter templates or our seasonal templates, I want you to build all of your promotion codes under Resources. So I'm going to click on this link. Now, by default, there are no codes in GCast. You have to create your library of codes. But when you do that, it's very easy. All you have to do is press the Create New button. GCast and shortcuts need two things. What is this code? What is this description? I always advise keep the code short and simple so that you can identify what that coupon is and what the discount should be. If you look at my list of codes that I've already created, they're pretty self-explanatory. Back to school, birthday, dads, graduation. So more or less you can tell, okay, one's for Father's Day, one's for the graduation season, one's for Mother's Day, one's for new clients, things like that. So if I were to create a new one, and there was an event or a holiday that I didn't have, for example, Easter. So this will be my code. When I give it a description, I do not necessarily need to tell GCast or shortcuts how much this coupon is for, what it can be used for. I keep it a little more open-ended. So for example, the description will be customer receives a coupon in April. So again, I didn't say how much the coupon was worth or what they could be using it for, service or a product or even a sundry. I just say during April, somebody's going to get an Easter coupon. That's it. I'll save it and it will be added to my list. So even if you don't know the specifics for the campaigns you're working on, plan at least a dozen different coupons. Think about Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's, Easter, just like I did here. And then think about more specific targeted ones. Create a coupon for the We Miss You customers. Create a coupon if you have a lot of parents that or kids that you deal with. If you have military people, public service people, and you want to create some sort of special reward. Are you going to create one for Instagram or Facebook followers? Just create a whole list, an entire library of promotion codes, So we're going to go back to the home screen. So once you have those campaigns, and sorry, Melissa, I can't answer your question right now. I'll have to wait for the webinar to be finished. As you begin to create your campaigns, when you are in the process of sending out those messages, this is how you attach your promotion code. So you'll create your campaign. You'll choose your send options, when it should be sending out. If you decide to use demographics to target very specific customers, you'll set your demographics, but then there's an option that says promotion codes. So now this is where I can attach that code, that coupon that I want to follow to the email. So I'm not going to attach the Easter one. I'm going to attach the New Year's coupon to this campaign I'm working on. So then I would be able to save it and send myself a test message. So if I send a test, then I can review it, and as soon as I send a test, Shortcuts will recognize you've created some sort of coupon that I need to follow. So how does Shortcuts know that there is a coupon in GCast that it has to track? That takes us to the next part. You can actually connect a promotion code from GCast into Shortcuts. So I have a little video for you. So once your test campaign is sent, you're going to go into Shortcuts, and you're going to go into Setup Configuration, and on the left side of the screen, you're going to go to your Discounts button under your sales. So normally, you have a default list of reasons why a customer gets a discount. So on this window, you would actually create a brand new discount that is comparable to your email. So in Shortcuts, I would actually create a discount called Easter, or Back to School, or New Year's, or Mother's Day, or Father's Day. And at that point, I can choose what is my default. Is it $5 off? Is it 10%? And then set that default and tell Shortcuts, can this be used against a product or a service? Once I have those things, on the bottom left corner, there's a little checkbox, and I don't know if you've ever noticed it. It says, Use Set and Forget promotion. This is how Shortcuts actually talks to GCast. When you press that Use Set and Forget promotion, you'll actually get a list of all of those promotion codes that you've created in GCast. So you can tag the particular promotion code and save it in Shortcuts. So what happens is every time a customer shows up with a coupon, whether they print it up from their email or they bring in their phone and they show you the coupon on their phone, at the point of sale, you're going to give the customer that particular discount. What Shortcuts is going to do is actually synchronize that information with GCast. And you'll get what's called a return on investment report. You'll know how many people came in, how much money did they spend in total, and what was the value of this discount. So the customer did get a little bit off their visit. However, what was your return on investment for this coupon? So let's jump back. Oh, here we are. So that is how you actually attach a promotion code to a discount. And if you go into GCast, there is a special report for you, return on investment. So not only do you see how this campaign did, anytime you send an email, you'll have a list of how successful those campaigns were. So if you're not currently tracking your happy birthday campaigns, your we miss you campaigns, your referral campaigns, you absolutely should go back and start doing that. Otherwise, you never really know how successful is your marketing. Are you getting a return on investment every time you send out a Facebook or an Instagram campaign from GCast? So keep an eye on these things. And if you're not using them, start using them. So the last step for today, as you start planning your year's worth of events, your year's worth of promotions and campaigns, you're going to be building a collection of templates to work from. You're going to be building promotion codes to use and attaching those promotion codes in shortcuts. So the last step is in GCast. You can actually set your send dates. And if you have a code or a coupon or a promotion code that's going to expire on a certain date, you can actually put that expiration into shortcuts. So if I'm working on my holiday campaign, I can set my send date right here. But next week, if I have time, I can actually start building next year's campaigns. So I can actually make a copy of this message, for example, and just tell GCast, I'm going to send this on December 1st, 2019. And when that day rolls around, GCast will send the message. So if time permits, queue up at least one monthly campaign. Know what you're doing for Valentine's. Tell GCast in 2019, this is the message I'm sending out. Know what you're doing on back to school. Know what you're doing on Easter, for example. And set all of those messages up in GCast to send out on particular days. But in shortcuts. We don't want your staff to accidentally give out promotions or coupons or discounts after the expiration date. So after Easter, I don't want customers to continue getting some sort of discount on services or products. So if I go to the discount window and I find a particular discount or coupon that I had sent out, on the right side, notice my leader duo discount that I was sending out through November, December is going to expire at the end of the year. So on the right side, I set an expiration date. On January 1st, 2019, this discount will no longer be active. So there's no chance that the staff will continue to give this discount for certain products. So remember, set your send date in GCast, set an expiration date for certain coupons in shortcuts. So believe it or not, that takes us to the end of today's presentation. So you should now be able to plan a campaign period. At the very least, do one monthly email. Target your customers using demographics. So always build your campaigns around your clients. Know how to track your return on investment. If you're not using promotion codes, you must absolutely do that so you can find out how successful your campaigns are. And of course, use GCast, use your send options, use your demographics to queue up all of your promotions and events. One of my favorite stories from teaching here at Shortcuts is a couple of years back. I was helping a customer on a campaign. They called me in March. They just needed some advice on placing a graphic in their campaign. And I remoted to their computer and I saw they were working on their Christmas campaign in March. Once they had placed their graphic, once they were happy with their buttons and social media links, that was it. An entire year's worth of campaigns were ready to go as of March. So even a few months in, there's never an excuse not to get everything ready to go. So then all that owner had to do was focus on the customers, focus on the promotions, which were already ready to go in Shortcuts, ready to go in GCast, and their staff was fully aware. You get a monthly email, and when the customers come in, I'm going to give them some sort of discount. So with that in mind, we're always coming up with new topics. You're welcome to sign up for our next webinars on our Shortcuts webpage, shortcuts.net/webinars. Plus, you can watch previous presentations in our webinar library. So now I'm going to open up the floor. So let me bring up my control panel. And on the right side, hopefully I didn't put everybody to sleep. If you have any questions, go ahead and post a message on the right side. And I have both the chat window and the message window available. Okay. Any questions? Anything you want to review? Hopefully my audio has not been out the entire time. So let's bring up the questions window. All right, Jason, Rhonda, Sherry, I see some familiar faces there. Jamie, Eric, any questions? I have a feeling you're just going to email me your questions when we're done. All right, testing. Any questions? Looks like I'm not getting any questions. Oh. Okay, so it looks like I have a question here. So let me read it back. So the question is, I wish I could expand this list. This not very easy to read on this tiny screen. Okay, let's see. I think it was Diana that had a question. Can you walk through how to choose a demo for, say, a haircut client that hasn't been back with a preferred provider for the last 12 weeks? Okay, so let's actually look at that. We have a customer and they haven't been back with a preferred provider for the last 12 weeks. So in GCast, if GCast is synchronizing correctly, let's run through this scenario. So you've already built your campaign. In GCast, you told GCast when it should send out this message. So this one is going to be for a very specific demographic. And in this case, it's going to be two demographics. So in demographics, the one we're going to choose is, waiting for this to come up. There we go. So it's Shortcut Software USA Demographics. Demographics is the category, and the specific demographic is the client's preferred employee name. So you'll put in the name of the employee, and again, the person I'm using is Brad, for example. However, I'm going to add a second thing. So immediately underneath that demographic, I'm going to press the plus button. So then the scenario is Shortcuts USA Demographics. Demographic is my category. And the second specific demographic was the client's last visit date. So we want to say is before, and I'll go 12 weeks back. So what was 12 weeks ago? September? So anybody that visited with Brad but has not returned since September 1st, 2018 will get the email message. And under send options, this is a one-time email blast. So you're going to say this frequency is once only, and let's say this is going to be my Monday email. So I would set the send option, and I would set those specific demographics. Okay, I hope that answers that question. Okay. Debbie. Debbie, did you have a question? Okay. If there are no other questions, then we'll wrap up this presentation. and we'll make it available just in case you want to review it a little bit later today. So one last call for questions. Are there any questions? Go ahead and just type in a message on the right side, either in the question window or in the chat window. I'll give it a moment. And questions. Okay, looks like there are no questions. Well, thank you for attending this presentation. I really appreciate it. I hope you were able to get something out of this. We will make this presentation available online in just a little bit. I'd like to thank you all for attending presentations throughout the year. If you have any follow-up questions, if you have any suggestions for future webinars, go ahead and just let us know. We're at education@shortcuts.net. So you can always give us a call, send us a message. We appreciate you following us, and in the cases of some of you getting up super early in the morning or pausing your business day to attend the webinar, we thank you for that. We thank you for your business. We hope you have a great holiday season, and we'll see you again in the new year with a new batch of webinars. So let me stop sharing, and everybody have a great rest of the day.